Now, when we start evaluating expressions, this same concept still applies. We know that evaluate means to substitute these numbers in and see what this is equal to. We're going to have negative 3 getting squared minus negative 2 getting squared. And I told you in a previous video to watch out that whenever you use substitution, to use parentheses. And that way we won't get into this whole negative issue. Negative 3 when you square it gives 9. Negative 2 when you square it gives 4. And then we subtract the 2, the minus sign coming down in the middle there. 9 minus 4 makes 5. Order of operations says the squaring comes before the subtraction. That's why we waited on that subtraction until later. Also, you cannot say, ooh, two negatives right next to each other, let's turn that into plus a positive, because the second negative is trapped inside of the square, and that overrides that minus a minus becomes a positive rule that we had a moment ago in the other video. Here we go. 2 times negative 3 getting squared minus 5 times negative 2 being substituted in for y. Order of operations says that the squaring goes first, so we're going to have 2 times 9 minus the 5 times negative 2. Then we're going to have 2 times 9, that's 18. Skip over the subtraction, do the multiplication, 5 times negative 2, which makes negative 10. And then whenever you have two negatives next to each other, minusing a negative becomes 18 plus 10 in this case, making 28. Okay, substituting in on the next problem. Again, x is going to become the number negative 3. So we're going to have 2 times negative 3 minus y, which is negative 2. Notice my use of parentheses. Divided by x plus y, which becomes negative 3 plus negative 2. Now, something that we don't tell you about, but I'm telling you now, is there is an understood parentheses around the numerator as well as around the denominator, saying that we have two separate problems, so to speak. One in the numerator, one in the denominator. Evaluate the numerator, evaluate the denominator, and then divide them. So in the numerator, we skip over the subtraction, but we do this multiplication first. We do 2 times negative 3 to make negative 6. Then minus the negative 2 becomes plus 2. Down below, all we have is an addition of two negatives, making negative 5. In the numerator, we're going to do that as one separate problem. Negative 6 plus 2 makes negative 4, divided by negative 5. And whenever you divide two negatives, you get a positive, so 4/5 will be the value of that expression. Okay, here we have another order of operations problem, and in it we see both a bracket and a parentheses. So we're going to work from the inside out and deal with this 6 minus 12 first. I'm going to rewrite everything outside of the brackets first. Minus, now here we go. 6 minus 12 makes negative 6, and that's what I'm going to bring down to the next line. Okay, still working within the brackets, we have the subtraction problem, and whenever we subtract a negative, we end up adding the opposite, so this is going to be the same as adding a positive 6. So bringing everything down, we have negative 6 minus 5 times. Negative 4 plus 6 really makes 2, plus our negative 5 squared, which is coming down from the line above. Okay, that's P for parentheses. Now we move on to E for exponents, which tells us to take that negative 5 squared and do it next. So negative 6 minus 5 times 2, I'm switching that to a parentheses just because it looks nicer, plus 25. Okay, now we're down to multiplication and division, and multiplication is seen here with this 5 times 2. So that's what I'm going to do next. I will have negative 6 minus 10 plus 25. Since all that we have left is addition and subtraction, we work our way from left to right, and negative 6 minus 10 gives us negative 16, to which we add the 25 to get our final answer here of 9. One thing that's interesting to note that you don't see written is that there's an understood parentheses around numerators and denominators inside of fractions. So when we're simplifying this next problem, we simplify the entire numerator first and the entire denominator first before we divide, because order of operations says parentheses go first. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to clean up inside each absolute value first, and what we're going to have now is the absolute value of 4, because negative 2 plus 6 is 4, minus the absolute value of negative 2, because 3 minus 5 is negative 2, all divided by 2. Next, I'm going to take those absolute values, which will give me 4 minus 2 in the numerator over 2. Subtracting in the numerator is 2 over 2, and the value of this expression is equal to 1. Note that along the way I did not write parentheses up there around that 4 minus 2. It was understood that I was going to simplify the numerator first before I divided.